Good afternoon. It's actually Thursday. I know. Half the week's already gone. But before we get to the juicy bits of this conversation, let's just rewind and look back to Sunday when we went to For Earth's Sake, the Great Green Barn down at For Earth's Sake, to take part in the Wassailing. So here's some footage of that. I hope you enjoy it. I'll see you in a moment. Good morning. It's Sunday morning. We're in the car. We're in Fenella. Our little Toyota Aygo, for those of you who don't know, who was named Fenella after Fenella the Fox and, of course, our heroine, Fenella Fielding. So Paul's driving, as you can see, and yeah, it's about 9:45. It is 9:45, and we're on our way to the Great Green Barn down in Surrey for the Wassailing ceremony.
In a quarter of a mile, turn left onto Twickenham Road, A310.
That's the sat-nav, obviously. So yeah, we're going to the Wassailing event, and the Wassail is a ceremony which is done to bless the crops, to bless the orchard, and shoo away all the bad spirits, to ensure fertility and good health to all the crops and plants and all of that. And it is being done with the assistance of the Hook Eagle Morris dancers. And yeah, that's where we're going. I wasn't going to come, but I decided to because I thought it might be good for me to get out. I didn't particularly want to be on my own all day, left with my thoughts, which are prone to obsessive wanderings at the moment. So yeah, especially with work tomorrow and the battle that I'm going to have on my hands. But hey ho, that's another story. So yeah, we're on our way, and rain is forecast, heavy rain is forecast with a yellow weather warning. So we're probably either going to get wet or,
hopefully not,
at the very least, slightly damp. So yeah, I'll catch you later. So this very large structure in front of us is Twickenham Stadium, the home of English rugby. Yeah, there we are. Massive. And as you can imagine, this area gets very, very busy on event days. Not that I've ever been to an event here, I don't think. Have you, Paul?
Once.
I mean, they do have other things other than rugby, don't they? They occasionally have... Do they have concerts as well?
Conferences, they have concerts.
Yeah.
There's a hotel.
Yeah, so there we are. That's Twickenham Rugby
And
Stadium.
one as well, Harlequins.
Yeah, that's just up the road. And the other building that we always like to point out is the waterworks, the sewage works, which is a sort of iconic building. I assume it's Victorian.
Yeah, Victorian pumping house.
And has been used in many a movie.
And TV, Poirot.
TV, Poirot. It was used in Chitty Bang Bang. There we are. Don't know why we always like to point that one out, but I think it's such a grand building. As you can see, this road has turned into 3 lanes now, so it's about to become the motorway. And for those of you who don't know maybe what motorways are in the UK, they're like the freeway, I think you'd call them. Where the speed increases And you can travel at 70 miles an hour. There we are, the southwest. Sorry. So we're off the horrid, noisy motorway and we're in Guildford now. Guildford in Surrey. And Surrey, for those of you who don't know, is a county that sort of has a reputation of being quite posh and full of money. And indeed, in certain places it is. Big properties. I mean, I say money, but I think there are probably very few people who actually have cash these days. I think people have probably got money like us tied up in property. But yes, this is Guildford. We're driving through the centre, through the town centre. So sorry about all the wobbly footage. It's difficult to keep things stable on this phone. And Guildford, I find, is a real mishmash of modern and old buildings. And it's full of roads where I'm like, which one do I take? Which lane should I be in for the next junction? Blah blah blah. So I'm glad Paul's driving. Pedestrians in the way, get out of the way. There's a very oddly shaped McDonald's there.
It used to be Jamie Oliver Place.
Oh, how they've come down in the world.
Before that, Pret a Manger, I think.
Then you've got the river over there. What river is that?
It's the Thames.
Is it the Thames?
Yeah.
Oh. It's very pretty parts.
This is the other big shopping centre. It used to be a Debenhams completely. It's being done up on the right here.
Oh yeah, lots of scaffold. And then there's this lovely hilly bit with what look like big properties.
Yeah. There's a theatre on the right here.
Yeah.
Yvonne Arnaud.
The Yvonne Arnaud Theatre by the river. So what's this village called?
Shelford, I think.
And this is where the Great Green Barn and Vanessa and For Earth's Sake are based. Down this, what looks like very remote country lane with lots of potholes. Yeah.
Which they filled in a lot of
Okay.
about 2 months ago, 3 months ago. So that's For Earth's Sake.
Here we are. So that's For Earth's Sake, the shop. And this is where Vanessa lives.
That's the Great Green Barn.
And the Great Green Barn. Here we are. How lovely. As you can see, some of the Morris dancers have arrived,
So vegan.
and we've been doing some work to set up the snacks.
So it's just vegan.
There's soup and rolls, there's flapjacks and brownies, there's cider, there's drinks.
Vegan, gluten-free.
So yeah,
The brownies are vegan.
so I've been helping out get some of these things prepared. So yeah, it's all good. So how's it going, Paul?
It's going okay.
Yeah.
It's raining heavily, which is a shame.
Yeah.
But what we're doing is, instead of everybody going into the orchard, they're going to come into the barn first, and then those who want to join the wassailing in the orchard can go over, and then back over to the barn after.
Yeah, it's such a shame, isn't it? It's
Yeah.
absolutely bloody chucking it down.
And
It really
yesterday was
is.
such a gorgeous day. You know, such
Yeah,
a-
well, it's
a
typical,
shame.
isn't it?
Yeah.
Typical.
Yeah. But there we are. We're getting people turning up, so that's a
Yeah.
positive thing.
It's all good.
Yeah.
Good. Hi, Vanessa.
Hello.
How are you doing?
Oh, in the general mayhem, absolutely fine.
Yeah. So
All absolutely fine.
what's
All
happening
absolutely-
today? What's happening?
It's the ancient tradition of wassailing,
Yeah.
and I've got my little orchard, which is the other side of the lane, and they're very little, and they're only about 3 years old now.
Yeah.
Some of them are into 2. And last year we did the same thing, and so here are the wassailers, who are the Book Eagle Morris dancers, and so shortly we're going to, when everyone has arrived, depending on the weather, if anyone does arrive, which they probably won't, but anyway, if they do, we will all brave the weather, because we're all good, you know, we understand the English weather, and then we'll walk across the road and we'll do our little ceremony, which is with toast and cider, and we bless the trees and we make a loud noise and make all the evil spirits go away, so that we'll have wonderful apples in my little orchard. And then we'll all come back to the great barn, which is, I'm sure you'll
Amazing.
do before. And we've got some fantastic homemade mulled cider, which is absolutely superb. All sorts of other things. We've got our spanakopita pies, we've got our fresh rolls and soup, and everyone will dance through the afternoon and get very merry, I hope.
Perfect. Thank you, Vanessa, for your time. Thank
My
you.
absolute pleasure too.
Thank you. Hello. So we're on our way back, and it's been very, very wet. We were lucky on the way here, there was no rain at all, but then it swept in, and yeah. As you can see, it didn't stop the proceedings. They did do a brief wassail in the orchard, but then came in to continue with the Morris dancing, as you saw. So yeah, it's very wet, and we're making our way home. So that's it for today. Hope you enjoyed that. Bye for now. So there we are. That was a fun day. It was quite a long day, and we all sort of got involved in doing bits and pieces and helping out. Yeah, it was fun. So let's go to Monday and Tuesday. So Monday I went to work as usual, and I tried to get hold of my manager, but couldn't get hold of her. On Tuesday, I went to work as usual and also tried to get to speak with my manager, and was only able to speak with her briefly about an unrelated matter. So I was sort of filled with quite a lot of anxiety and worry about the work situation, but I hadn't progressed anything at all. I hadn't, said, well, I'm going to refuse to do this work or anything like this. This is the extra work I was talking about last week that I was refusing to do. And on Tuesday evening, I was reading something about the new moon in Aquarius. And everything I was reading sort of made a lot of sense. I'm not particularly into astrology, but occasionally I read it and think, oh, that's interesting, And it was talking about new beginnings and starting new projects and taking the plunge into a new way of being. And I thought, this is kind of where I need to be in life. So Wednesday morning, I went into work and I made a big effort to get hold of my boss. And I eventually had a conversation with her. And it sort of went along the lines of, I sort of said, what is going to happen if I continue to refuse to do this extra work? What are the consequences of that? I'd like you to tell me. I kind of know what the consequences are, but, I wanted to hear it. And she basically told me that the consequences would probably be a disciplinary. So I said, well, I'm going to save you the trouble. I resign. I resign. So I did. I resigned. This caused a bit of a shockwave because she had to announce it to the team, because I worked out that I have so much annual leave to take that basically I can hand in a month's notice and leave virtually there and then. So I said, this is what I'm doing. I'm taking my leave and I'm leaving today at 12:30. That was yesterday. She announced it to the team, and there was a wave of phone calls and people coming down to reception. In fact, somebody actually went out and purchased a bunch of flowers for me. And the whole health team that were on the premises came down to reception to see me, which was rather nice. I had a raft of phone calls come through to me. And basically you have a lot of very shocked and stunned people. Yeah. So I kind of had to tell them the truth of the matter, which is I've been pushed into a corner. And it's probably intentional, I think that's kind of what the overall plan is to get rid of the admin staff. And it's worked. So yeah, I left at 12:30. Now, officially, I'm still working for them, so I'm certainly not going to get too gobby about the situation, because they still owe me some money because I have a shed load of leave still to take, which they have to pay me for, and I'm still owed some wages. So yeah, I'm not going to lay into them in this conversation. And I could find myself back there working for the health team. I've got no qualm with the health team at all. They've been amazing, so supportive. And they've kind of said, we've got your back. We value you as an employee because of what you do, because of the way in which you deal with people. You've got to understand that the health team is a very caring team. It's a team of nurses, psychiatrists, psychologists, therapists, who are supported by administrators. And the administrators are valued. Now, in social care, I am also valued by the social workers that I work for, because I do a heck of a lot of work for them. Or did, yeah. Should start talking in the past tense. So there is a possibility that I may go back, but there are obviously things they need to do. They need to sort out creating a role, in fact, because the role I was in was created by social care side of things. That's who my contract was with. But I'm what's called a joint post, so I'm partially funded by the NHS. So to only work for that partially funded portion would mean only working 1.25 days a week, and they'd still need to contract me, and those things take time because there are budgets involved and all sorts of bits and pieces. So there is a possibility that I may be going back to them, but not working for social care, just working for health. So there are all sorts of things involved in that, and it could be tricky to do. But yes, so officially I'm now on leave until the end of February, and that's when my contract with Ealing would end. My boss, my immediate boss, was in shock. I'm not sure why, because, I thought she was in the know about these things, but clearly not. But it does appear that in the background there have been various things happening. I think to try and either maneuver people into doing more work, or losing them if they refuse to do it via disciplinary action. Yeah, so what I've done essentially is, because of them taking control of me or trying to take control of me in my work, I have taken back control. Because that's what people do. When control is kind of taken away, we try to take it back. And that's what I've done. And I left yesterday at 12:30, came home. I was given a card by the health team as well and some chocolates. It was really sweet of them with a lovely message. So I do hope on one level that I'm able to go back and work for them. If I'm not, that's okay. So yeah, I'm now officially on leave for a month, and potentially I will never be going back after 18 years. And I feel okay. I feel okay about it. I don't feel elated by it because the past 3 weeks have been immensely stressful. And I've been unable to fully detach from work like I normally do. Normally I leave work behind on a Wednesday afternoon and I don't think about it, but it's been filling my thoughts and been affecting me physically and mentally. Not very badly, but I've been having sort of tight chest, anxiety, stuff like that, which is bad enough, So yeah, I'm a free agent. And it means I'm going to have to think about how I earn some more money. I can't see me going back into a job. I'm 57. I can't see myself commuting anywhere. I couldn't afford the level of job I could get, which is basically some form of administration, having to pay travel costs and lunch costs and all of that. And just simply having to do that would be a heck of a wrench for me to do that every day. I would be immensely unhappy. So I'm planning on ramping up my social media once I've sort of had chance to settle into a new routine. And yeah, get used to this new way of being. Yeah, that's my plan. That's my plan, to bring you more videos and to hopefully increase the viewings, to make a little bit more money. In terms of available money, I've got some savings so I can pay myself for a good few months quite easily, because I don't actually earn that much anyway. So, you know, I'm on a very low wage. So yeah, we're still able to keep things ticking over. We'll tighten our belts a bit, you know. We're relatively frugal anyway. But yes, so that's the situation. I quit my job. It's all very interesting how it's sort of worked out. I am angry on one level with a particular person. I'm not going to mention anything about them, but I am angry with them because I thought they respected me, but it clearly is coming through to me by things that have been said by my boss, that they really don't give a damn about anybody. All they really care about is budgets, and making sure they deliver whatever they can deliver to the customers as cheaply as possible, and that every single penny is accounted for. And however that's done, whether that means cutting staff, whatever, and I think that's the plan, like I said before, I'm getting that impression. I just wish that they would go about these things in a more transparent way rather than in a Machiavellian, background way. I mean, this whole thing about this extra work, I said to my manager on Wednesday morning, I said, if they'd have approached me in a different way, if they'd have written to me as an individual and said, we value you as an employee, your work is really great, you've got a good record, you're really efficient and effective. We wondered if you'd be interested in partaking in some training with our call centre to increase your skills and potentially doing a little bit of work for them. That would have piqued my interest a little bit more. I'd have probably said, that sounds interesting. It might be quite nice to do something different. If they'd have employed a little bit of positive psychology on the employees in encouraging them to maybe try something different, try something new, then I think they would have had a more positive response. Instead, what they chose to do was dictate and lay down the law, and actually kind of in a backhanded way, they're threatening us. If you don't do this, we will take action against you, which is so bullish, and so old-fashioned. I mean, that's the kind of thing people were doing in the 80s to employees. And this is public sector. So, just really poor, really disappointing, And I think when you've had a blemish-free career and you've never been disciplined and you've never been, hauled into a disciplinary hearing or anything like that, or been given a verbal warning that's never happened to me. That I've never ever been engaged. I've disagreed with things over the years, and there have been a couple of managers along the way that haven't been really up to scratch. But there's been plenty that have been, and plenty that have been reasonable. I remember a few years ago, I used to do a project for social care, which involved contacting a huge number of customers to get some information from them about their status, about their employment and tenure status, i.e. where they live and the status of their property. And I did this over a few years. Every year I was asked to do it. But when I went part-time, I said to the service manager, I'm really not going to be able to fit this in. Now I'm part-time. And she said, no, I understand that. I'm going to be taking it away from you. Don't worry, it's not a problem. And that was understood, that a part-time worker can't fit everything in, that they would have done as a full-time worker. So we've had managers that have been very understanding and very respectful and very appreciative of what we do as as a receptionist, stroke administrator. So, yeah, the regime there now is only interested in figures and only interested in getting as much out of the employee as they possibly can. And, I wouldn't mind, but I'm not somebody that shirks work. I'm a worker. I get on with it, and I get on with the work until it's done. And I usually finish my work in the allotted time because I work. That's what I do. So, it's all very disappointing in terms of that side of things, but yeah, I may find myself back there, which I think would probably be quite odd now, but yeah, we'll see. We'll see. I may be offered something, I may not be offered something. We'll see how that pans out. I'm not hinging anything on that, Is that the right expression? I'm not banking on anything coming through. We'll see. We'll see what happens. But I'm okay. I'm absolutely fine. Yeah, I'm okay. It's probably good to say at this stage that, this is not my first time at the rodeo. It's really not. I mean, I worked in the 80s in private sector and the 90s, and employment law changed in the 80s. They didn't have to issue contracts in the same way, and they could get rid of you if you hadn't been there for 2 years. So I was made redundant twice. I walked out of my job at the BBC as well, under sort of, I guess, not similar circumstances. I was sick of the toxic environment at the BBC. It was highly, highly toxic. And a number of people left kind of around the same time. And then they made a huge number of people redundant as well. But I got out, and similar situation, took leave and got a month's money. So I think sometimes it's good. Let me rephrase that. I don't recommend anybody walks away from their job. However, sometimes it can be a good thing to do. I think people that hang on till the last minute and are going through constant stress every single day are sometimes hanging on to their detriment, So yeah, I wasn't prepared to fight any longer, and go to work every day under this sort of heavy, stressful cloud of crap and bullshit. Wasn't prepared to do that, So there you go. So today we got out for a good walk. So I'm going to run some footage of that now. I hope you enjoy it. And the other thing finally for me to say is thank you for all your messages of support, because you've been amazing. You know, many of you have shared situations that you've been through yourselves. And it's been really helpful, because you do realise that, you know, lots of people go through these kind of changes. And sometimes these changes are really beneficial. And I just feel it's the right time for me to do something different with my time, and to perhaps become more of a full-time content creator. So let's see how that works. Also, just to say, I'm thinking of restructuring these weekly vlogs. So I'm thinking of potentially doing them as sort of 3 videos spread throughout the week. I mean, really, truthfully, to try and increase the number of views I get, because I need to make more money. That's the upshot of it. But at the same time, I'm also looking at trying to be a little bit more creative with what I do. So I'm having a think about that. I'm sort of mulling it over and seeing what I can come up with. So bear with me. So here's today's walk. I hope you enjoy it, up in the Chilterns. And because it was good weather, it's going to rain tomorrow, so we're probably going to be indoors. But today is beautiful. As you can see, the sun is streaming in. It's lovely. So thank you, bloody thank you. And hopefully I will see you tomorrow. Bye for now. So we're in the Chilterns, out for a walk, taking advantage of the sunny weather, because tomorrow, which is Friday, is due to be wet. And you know, whenever we've had stressful times, we've always tried to get out into nature to try and alleviate some of those stressful feelings. And it works. Today is a beautiful day. A beautiful day for a nice, wintry, muddy walk. Oh, we're walking through the woodland now. Of course, it looks very different to how it looks in the summer. Some trees have held onto their leaves. Most of them haven't. We're in the middle of the woodland. And yeah, it's beautiful, peaceful. We've hardly seen anybody at all, which is how we like it. Morning. It's Friday morning. Yeah. It's a bit weird, the prospect of facing the weekend and not having to think about going into work on Monday. Even though I'm supposed to be on leave, the prospect of not ever going back there is also a bit odd. So anyway, yeah. This morning our hearts were warmed by a lovely gift, or gifts I should say, that arrived from Sharon. Thank you, Sharon. Amazing. And we're going to talk about the gift in Sunday chat, because it's just absolutely lovely. Really is a box of goodies, absolutely gorgeous goodies. So thank you, Sharon. And yeah, we're gonna talk about and show our goodies, yeah, on Sunday chat. So this morning I've been doing a little bit of housework, a little bit of washing, soaked my tea towels. I just hung those out to dry on the maiden down here in the utility room. And I'm going to be doing editing bits and pieces this afternoon. I'm taking things at my pace. Yeah. Which is kind of quite nice, because normally I'm thinking, oh, I must make sure all the washing's done by the weekend because I need clothes for work. I mean, I still need clothes, but I don't need to think, oh, I need to do my cords because I wear those for work, and that jumper I like for work, and this I like for work, blah, blah, blah. I don't need to think about that. What a luxury that is. And yeah, it is. It is a bit of a luxury. I'm sort of, I'm okay mentally, although I'm sort of having a few thoughts, you know, like, oh, what if this and what if that? And I really need to think about this. And what if that happens? I need to do this, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, there's sort of all sorts of little thoughts going on, but nothing too mentally taxing. I'm normally quite good at distracting myself from things that I don't really want to be thinking about. I also wanted to mention that, you know, I'm not going to be pursuing this situation at work. You know, I probably have got some kind of case for constructive dismissal, probably, but I'm not going to be pursuing that, because I think that kind of situation in one's life is extremely negative. And I think, you know, if I were in a situation whereby I had absolutely no income whatsoever and, you know, had a huge level of responsibility like a family, or, you know, to provide for, and no savings, then I may be doing that. But I think I would find that whole situation so stressful to pursue. I think it would have a very, very strong negative effect on me. So I just wanted to mention that, because I know quite a few of you will probably be thinking, well, why don't you do this? Why don't you do this? Why don't you fight for your rights and blah, blah, blah. No, I'm not going to be fighting for anything. There's enough to fight for in this life, I think, without adding in extra things. And I don't want my life to become a complete and utter struggle for months. No. That's not how I operate. I operate in the here and now. I operate with what I've got to work with, and this is what I've got to work with. And I'm accepting that, because I think, and I've said this before, acceptance is a skill, and I think you have to put things into perspective. You have to weigh things up and do what works for you. And if you're the kind of person that, you know, goes fighting for your rights and takes people to court and things like that, then fine, knock yourself out. I'm not that kind of person. I'm not a pushover, as you know, but I'm not the kind of person who will drag things out to the nth degree just for the sake of some money. I'm in a fortunate position where I was about to say I don't have to worry. I do worry, and there will be a point where I'll have to worry. That point isn't now, and I'm going to let things unfold as time goes on and do the things that are necessary to stay afloat. You know, I might end up getting some other form of work, I don't know, but it's not going to be in a conventional sense, certainly not. But I've said all that already, so hey ho. So this is the end of this week's vlogs, and as I said yesterday, I'm considering doing things in a different format. So potentially sort of 3 videos in a week. But suddenly the road was really busy. So I'm going to be looking at that, but I'm taking my time. I'm taking my sweet time to do these things. I'm not putting undue pressure on myself at this moment. And I think that's fair enough. So thanks for all of your support. We're going to be having lunch shortly. I think it's coming up to 1 o'clock, I think. This morning seems to have just flown by. I haven't really done that much. The weather is kind of quite bad. It looks as though it's really bright and sunny. There is a slight glow of sun. It's trying to get out, but it's been very wet this morning and throughout the night. But I think it might clear up. I don't know. We'll see. So bye for now. Thank you. And I'll see you for Sunday chat. Bye for now.